today. Get comfortable not owning games from Ubisoft? Let's start now! This is CheckPoint.
Welcome to CheckPoint, where it has become clear that the ghost of Bobby Kotick is unleashing vile retribution against us for our many unflattering stories about him and his awful ex-company.
Oh, for God's sake, it snows during winter. Stop calling it a blizzard.
It means something! A couple years ago, Remedy Entertainment and Take-Two Interactive announced that they were going to work together on remasters of Max Payne 1 and 2, and that news was so well received that they decided to collaborate on another new project, a trademark dispute. You see, Remedy recently rebranded their logo, feeling that the negative space bullet was more in keeping with the company's Max Payne era, so they settled on a barely stylized R. Take-Two, of course, owns Rockstar, whose logo is also a barely stylized R, and for some reason they decided that this was a hill worth dying on, and they filed a trademark dispute with both the UK and the EU's intellectual property offices. Apparently, Take-Two thought that these marks would cause confusion on part of the public, and yeah, I guess I kind of am confused how they thought this would go and why it was worth the legal cost to pursue. Besides, according to The Verge, proceedings in the EU court wouldn't have gone ahead until September 7th, 2025, and it's wild that they are organized enough to know that the exact date over a year and a half in the future, but also so slammed that it was going to take that long to decide that Take-Two is just kind of being a total weirdo about the whole thing. But luckily, as of this morning, calmer heads have prevailed, and a spokesperson for Remedy has clarified that both parties have amicably resolved this in the last month, and apparently Take-Two only submitted the filing as a formality, which seems like a tremendous effort for a formality, but sure, we'll assume that's all sincere, and not because they're still working together on those remakes, and it would look kinda awkward if developer and publisher were promoting games together while also fighting over the letter R. Also, this is good news for the studio heads at Rare, who I assume have just been hiding out in a pub until this whole thing blows over.
Dogs are better than robots, and here's how. A dog is furry and excited to see you. A robot is metallic and is indifferent to your presence. A dog can chase its tail for hours. A robot lacks any tail whatsoever. A dog will listen to your phone calls and will shut the fuck up about it. A robot will listen to your phone calls and report everything you say back to an advertising company so they can build a profile on you and make every ad you see on a website about how you should buy another 6 vacuum cleaners. Also, a dog can be taught to press buttons for cheese, whereas Rob the Robot won't high-five you after playing Gyromite on this year's Games Done Quick. The robot replacing dog in this instance is Peanut Butter, or PB for short, who became the first ever speedrunning dog featured on GDQ. PB was trained by his speedrunning pal JSR to operate a special controller that would raise and lower different colored columns in the NES game Gyromite, a responsibility previously left to Rob. Now, it could be argued that PB wasn't actually standing in for Rob during the play, given that PB was only responding to JSR's commands and then rewarded with a bit of ham or cheese. But who's to say that Rob also wasn't responding to each command given to it by the NES itself, and then having its own pleasure circuits satisfied by a gift of electronic ham or cheese? According to late night internet searches, only me. Congrats, PB!
Good job, get that cheese. Good job.
Ubisoft's director of subscription services, Philippe Tremblay, has been raising some eyebrows this week with his statement that gamers need to get more comfortable with not owning things. And it's not some sort of comment on how poor we are under late-stage capitalism. You see, Ubisoft is updating its subscription service from Ubisoft Plus Multi-Access and PC Access to the more streamlined name Ubisoft Plus Premium, their own answer to Xbox's Game Pass. And as part of all the compliance requirements for that hell merger, it's going to have Activision titles outside the EU. And even though it costs an eye-watering $18 a month, it's already been very successful for Ubisoft. But Tremblay says that for streaming subscriptions to really sing, gamers just need to get used to not owning games, a shift he's seen in other physical media like CDs and DVDs. And yeah, admittedly, the initial promise of no longer needing physical media seemed like a great solution for a few years there, but we're already well through the other side. People are buying movies again. Heck, even CDs are back. Taylor Swift just released a CD because people got tired of losing access to media they thought they had paid for. Is it on Hulu right now or is it on Netflix? Maybe it'll be like Pokemon that needs a whole website to explain where you can watch the show. Or maybe it'll just be like Warner Brothers and where they just delete things randomly entirely. Tremblay says these games will still exist and the service will continue and you'll be able to access them when you feel like. That's reassuring. And I agree. It would be reassuring if I had any reason at all to believe it.
Hey, speaking of owning games, did you ever wonder how people dump the ROMs of their favorite game cartridges? I always assumed that it took bonkers powerful computer hardware, or that you needed to steal a prototype cartridge reader, like something super secret that Nintendo would only give out to the cartridge printing factories for loading all the software onto each cart. Turns out you can do it yourself at home with everyday household items. First, a Game Boy Advance and the cartridge you want to dump. Second, a 3.5mm male-to-male aux cable, like the kind you see hanging around in cars without Bluetooth. And third, this new video that just hit YouTube yesterday from the Zaz Glitch, which I'm assuming is their real name. In the video, the Zaz Glitch demonstrates how you can crash a GBA cart by pulling it out and shoving it back in during gameplay. Then, as it starts freaking out, you plug the aux cable into the GBA and into your computer, and then start recording the playback. After about 2 hours, the GBA starts playing sound that is actually the ROM contents. Then you just write a program that turns the sound into code and analyzes the sound file over and over and over again in order to increase the likelihood that it guesses correctly what each sound means. Apparently, this will take days of effort, probably weeks, and you'll be left with a ROM file, indistinguishable from the one you already have on your computer. Is it worth it? No, you can buy a GBA cartridge reader for like $30 or 315 Norwegian kroner. But is it cool as hell to just listen to the ROM spewing out the headphone jack? Absolutely. Just be careful. If you use a headphone splitter with your friend, then it's technically distribution, especially if your friend is a mentat and they can play it back with their mind.
You know what? That seems like a good thing to do. You can do that while we're waiting for the snow to melt.
The buses are running, you know.
Yeah, but we could hunker down in the office and wait out the storm.
Most of us walked in today.
We can bolster ourselves with scraps of cheese we foraged from the fridge.
Oh shit, we have cheese?
Yeah. Coming up, now that they're owned by Epic and are bringing rhythm gaming to Fortnite, Harmonix has announced they will no longer be releasing weekly DLC for Rock Band 4. In other news, they've been releasing weekly DLC for Rock Band 4 for 8 years? This is what we do when we're eating cheese.
It started snowing yesterday in Victoria, which everyone forgets can actually happen.
Yeah. Penelope is so excited about the snow, though. She's like very into it.
There's a lot of it, so that's kind of nice.
She was very annoyed that it didn't snow more, but now it's snowing more today, so she'll be thrilled.
Good. Yeah,
She'll
absolutely.
be really happy.
Snow days in school?
No.
No? Yeah.
No.
Whatever.
Victoria School District still on.
Good.
It's like not that much snow.
It really isn't, no. I didn't drive, though. I drive because I need to go to the post office, but I was like, today I'm just going to not bother fighting the traffic.
Yeah, our bus has a detour on it.
Ooh.
So I did drive, but a few years ago I had to get new tires and I splurged. I didn't want to get a set of summer tires and a set of winter tires because they're not really necessary here. But I got all weather tires, which are different than all season tires. They're like the European standard, apparently.
Right. So
they're
mud and snow. Yeah.
mud and snow. They're much better. Yeah. Like I've driven around on all season and I've driven around on winter, and like they're not as good as winter tires for grip, but like I see other people sliding around and I'm just like
yeah,
in my small car.
Yeah, you know, your tires are the only thing attaching your car to the ground, so get good ones.
Yeah, well, get the best ones you can afford.
Yeah, absolutely. I like this tire chat that we turned CheckPoint into.
Oh. Tread point.
Do you have any thoughts about video games? I don't know. Oh, you can put tires on Mario Kart.
Yeah, Mario Kart's got tires. I don't know what else is going on. It's January. News is a little light still.
Yeah. It's nice of Philippe Tremblay to at least say something completely ridiculous. And then even nicer that Larian's CEO came out and said, like, actually, we would prefer that people buy whole entire games, and that's what we're going to keep doing, is releasing entire games. I'm like, okay, so there is still some friction in the industry still.
Yeah. I feel like Ubisoft doesn't care about individual gamers.
No.
They sort of like have the scale.
Everybody wants to have a maintenance plan, right? Because they're like, we don't want to worry about whether you're going to buy our next game or not. We just want you to give us $50 a month, so that we can just exist forever.
Everyone wants to be a live service game.
Patreon.com/loadingready.
I mean, we're kind of on the live service plan.
We really
You
are.
give us some money every month,
And we continue to be alive.
Yeah. Thank you.
We love you. We promise.